everybody. Welcome back to the Retro Wrestling Review USWA podcast. I'm your host, Gene Jackson, coming to you as always from the Retro Wrestling Archive in Gadsden, Alabama, along with producer Smokey, making things happen behind the scenes. But before we get going, we got to get the co-hosts out here. Of course, first off, let's welcome up one of the key members of P3 Radio. He's a certain someone's favorite host of P3 Radio. I won't say who that is just yet. But, of course, I'm talking about Josh Briley, the Nightmare Nephew himself. Josh, how you doing, buddy?
Yes, sir. One half of the capstone of P3 Radio. I love it. Yeah, man. How are you doing this morning?
I'm not doing too bad, man. Earlier in the week, I was sick as hell. I had a viral infection, and I was coughing constantly. I didn't sleep for like 4 days, and
I know last week you was having to pause, just throughout the show and stuff. I was like, oh man, he must rustle some dust up or something.
I couldn't get up and walk across the room, but I went to the doctor. He gave me a shot and gave me some cough medicine, and I feel like a new man now. And I went to EPW yesterday. Got in about 2:00 this morning. So I'm fired up and ready to go. This is a pretty interesting episode here. We're going to see Ta-Gar against the King live in the studio, and we're going to watch that whole match here in a little bit. Of
awesome, because I have never seen this show. Like, for whatever reason, this is another one. My granny didn't tape it, so this was all brand new to me.
Got past you. All right, well, speaking of spoilers, we can't go on without bringing on this man, our other co-host. He's the owner, founder, and president of STSpod.club, and he's currently Jonesboro, Arkansas's favorite resident. Spoiler alert, it is Brian Tramel. What's up, BT?
Hey, it's my best friend Gene and my favorite co-host of P3 Radio, Josh. How the hell are y'all guys? I've been up since 4:30 feeding the chickens, milking cows. I'm getting muck over here.
Drafting a letter to Richard.
Yeah, drafting a letter to Richard. Kayfabe, come on. I'm brought to you by Jolly Roll Furniture every week right here. Open an account or reopen an old account. That's 122 South Main Street, Memphis, Tennessee. And a new sponsor, brand new Spaghetti Warehouse at 40 West Hulling Avenue there in Memphis, Tennessee. Real quick before we get started with the show, I want to put over Retro Review channel. We got the Rick Davies interview up there. Rick is a longtime friend of mine. We've been friends since 1986 or 7 and have never met. We were pen pals, and he provided some of our videos for us. We told that story as we started this year. Also, we added Scott Bowden, Tony Myers, who did Chainsaw Tony in Japan, and Conrad Thompson interview. Fun stuff on the Retro channel.
Yes, sir. We have a couple of those every week dropping, and we've got some more fun stuff coming soon. If you're on the Patreon, there's new cassette wrestling news dropping each week, and
until we run out of them. So
we run out, but those are fun. You really, if you haven't heard any of those, that is definitely worth a listen.
Time capsule. It's like exactly. A time capsule.
It really is. It's like Steve Austin said. It's the original wrestling podcast. It's the closest thing you would have had to one back in old 1991. And speaking of 1991, today we are going to June 29th, 1991 for episode 87 of the Retro Review here. Dave Brown and Michael St. John are both there today, so unfortunately, no Corey. That kind of bumps me out. Every time I see Dave and Michael St. John on the screen, I'm like, I like those guys, but you just need a little Corey in there, but out there,
You praying for more kidney stones?
Yeah, I mean, I ain't retroactively wishing bad things on them, but. Take a week off. Don't drive up from Alabama that week, Michael. Let old Corey sit in there, if you will. Like I said, they tell us that the King's going to be taking on Ta-Gar here in the studio. And guys, I've officially decided we have 100% dropped Lord of the Volcano. That has not been uttered once since that very first week that he did that that video that we saw of him.
I could just see the conversation in the back with Bill and Lawler, just and Embry standing there like, well, he ain't the Lord or nothing if we're just going to beat his ass every fucking week. Just going to have to drop that.
I mean, when we get to this week's card, I know Dundee's like, God damn it, I got to wrestle this guy every week. Because Dundee has wrestled this mug almost every match he's had.
Every week. Yeah, beat him every week.
Dundee. So Dave and Michael St. John are excited that the tag team champions, Jeff Jarrett and Robert Fuller, are back live in the studio. They've been off doing charity work the last couple of weeks, they said. But now they're back here live and in person. We got a 6-man tag team match coming up today. Eric Embry will be here. And got a big night coming up at the Pipkin building this week. But the opening match sees Rob Zukowski, Mr. Charisma himself. Boy, I mean, it's so fun to go back and see. He is like a deer in the headlights every time they try to talk to him for promos. It's like, Dave, I'm going to try to win that match. Taking on Bill Rush.
He had the charisma, like I've said before, of Lawler's chiropractor or whoever that dude was.
Yeah, they Michael St. John said, "Good-looking young man," is what he said. And there's nothing wrong with that, Michael, but we understand now what's going on.
He's always quick to let us know when there's a good-looking young man in the studio. he's not going to let it get past him. That's for sure. I didn't get any clips of this match, but it's a fun little match, and even here in his very beginnings, Rob had a really unique style, just the way he would go about, the rolls and the splits and roll through, and just the way he did all of his wrestling, even the basic stuff. He still put his own twist on just about everything he did.
Yeah, that would have been the first time that I saw, shooting somebody into the ropes, them coming back and just doing the entire splits for the bend down. He just hops him like regular, but like the announcers didn't even call anything on that because I guess it's like, holy shit, never seen it before, totally unique. But we did get to see the finish this week, the split-legged bouncing moonsault off the top rope, and he almost fucked up. It seemed like those ropes were a little loose, and right there at the end, he had to tweak it just a little so he didn't pile drive himself on the mat there.
Yeah, which makes me wonder. Like, I had just about decided that last week's, having that move omitted may have just been a screw up by whoever copied these, on the DVD or somewhere along the way on that end. But it makes you wonder if it didn't get cut out by the USWA, if it went awry last week to that extent. Because, this one nearly went bad. He pulled it off, but it was like, ooh, that was almost a bad day for him right there.
Like you said, though, he's just totally different. Even in his first matches here, y'all mentioned something on the Dangerous Conversations. Well, Doug did. Was Rob and Judge Dredd, were they actually trained by Samu? Samu was in the business being trained by his uncle, and he worked. This was like his 6th or 7th year, and I know that's not Rob and him 6th or 7th year, right?
No, I mean, I think that's basically the deal is like, my understanding of it from reading Sabu's book a long while back, is one of those deals where the Sheik is there,
right,
standing outside the ring, but Sabu's the one in the ring actually bumping with them and taking them through everything. But the Sheik was there enough for them to basically say they were trained by the Sheik.
I had people say that. I stood outside the ring during training sessions. I had some kid start telling people I trained him. I said, no, I didn't train you. I never in the ring. Don't ever say I trained you. Say I helped you with psychology. Other than that, I didn't do anything. So,
don't you put that on me, Ricky Bobby. Doug was saying he thought that maybe at this point Sabu had wrestled as Samu, but I went and looked. It was Sabu, just for whatever fucking reason, like they tended to do here. They would just change somebody's name, which, okay, there had been a Sabu in Memphis previously. I can't remember which one of the Samoan guys it was, but So I thought, well, all right, well, maybe that's why they called him Samu. But then again, even in 91, Samu, the Samoan of the SST, was a well-known guy. He was on national television. Right. And then while they were referring to Sabu, he's coming out there in his genie pants and his fucking turban, and they kept saying, oh, the Samoan Samu. Like, I'm thinking, like, maybe Michael St. John, like, I'm going to do some studying on this guy. And he goes and reads in a magazine about Samu, the Samoan, and he thinks it's the same guy or something. I don't know. I can't make any sense of that.
As I put last week, it was Samu the Salmon. So there we go.
I did notice that I think it was Jeff Jarrett in one of the promos that he does. He's calling him Sabu. And then yes. Robert Fuller in the same one, he says Sabu. And whenever, if you show the Chiron, you're going to see the correction on somebody else too.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, they were calling Chris Candido, and then Jarrett in a promo said Candido, and then it's kind of we kind of fade into that. And same here. Like, even though everybody's calling him Samu, Jarrett's like, oh, I'm not gonna like a dipshit. I'm going to call him Sabu. And then Fuller's like, well, I'm not going to call him Samu if you ain't going to call him Samu. And so now, at least in one promo out of the show, he gets called by the right name, even though they're not, I'm trying to wrap my head around, and not to get ahead of things, and I'm sure we'll talk about this some more when we get to the results. But for like 2 weeks now, we've had matches for the tag titles where the losing team's supposed to split. Samu, Terry Brunk, whatever you want to call him, and his partner, Judge Dredd, have not walked out here as tag team champions at any point as if they have won. But yet they haven't split up. So what the fuck? Like, I don't know what exactly is happening here with that, but I guess we'll maybe shed some more light on that as the show goes on. Right now, Dr. Tom Pritchard and Miss Texas come out, and Dr. Tom cuts a pretty aggressive promo denying that Miss Texas lost to the Dirty White Girl, and says that's just vicious rumors, apparently, and puts over what a disciplined athlete, what great shape she's in, and she's a real woman, and all that kind of stuff that he's been attributing to Miss Texas all along. What do you guys think of this pairing of, because they always seem to kind of end up together ever since she first came in, even though she's part of the whole Embry package, but she usually seems more paired up with Dr. Tom.
I like it. I mean, I don't think she's or they are probably not comfortable, her being out there and speaking for herself too much yet. And, we'll see why later in years. But, Tom Pritchard is perfect for this part. I mean, and it's kind of like mirroring who he's, his main foe is right now, the Dirty White Boy. He has the Dirty White Girl. So pairing Miss Texas with him is just like, that's the thing to do, because they're going to have to clash and stuff. So it's perfect pairing.
I mean, I agree. We talked a little bit about it last week, but I like it. And as soon as we saw her paired with him, I had made the comment, "Hey, we know what this is leading to," because I knew Miss Dirty White Girl was coming in. And so let's go back to 1991. Race relations wasn't as good as they are now. And I'm thinking someone backstage said we could get a hell of a lot of heat putting a black woman with a white guy. Yeah. So that's just my opinion. I don't know, but I think they felt like they were getting heat because they were right smack in Memphis, in the middle of Memphis, and there was a white guy controlling a black woman. So he was going to get heat, boom, just as soon as he came out. So, I mean, that might have been part of it right there. And he does. They're good together. I like them together a lot. And she had to learn so much from Tom Pritchard.
Oh, I bet. In any number of ways. You think Dr. Tom was, making a house call or two there, or do you think strictly professional here?
In my personal opinion, and this is just based on my personal opinion, 100%.
Okay. Yeah. Because I mean, Dr. Tom's kind of known throughout wrestling to be, the equivalent. Let's just say we'll leave it right there. We won't go any further than that. But so now this is a pretty interesting 6-man tag to kick this show off here. I was pretty excited about this. You got Dr. Tom teaming up with Judge Dredd and Samu, the Samoan, taking on Nightmare Danny Davis, Dirty Doug Gilbert, and the Dirty White Boy. And here at the beginning, Doug's running around, as my mom would say, acting squirrely, as they say. So he's still rocking. Eddie's gone, as we talked about last week, but he's still rocking the gimmick. They're going to keep that going at least for a bit, it seems. And this was a pretty good match here. I enjoyed it, and we'll show a clip here of what happened towards the end. But previous to things kind of breaking down at the end, what did you guys think of this match for a TV match compared to a lot of what we've seen?
I mean, I thought it was fun. Like you said, Doug was great there. At the beginning, he goes over and he starts fucking with Sabu's foot, like his bare foot, and he's just grinning like a fucking, he was so happy doing that shit. Just a little menace,
He had that shit-eating grin. He is Squirrely with a shit-eating grin on his face. So there you go.
And it was a good match for what it was worth, before the chaos at the end.
I thought you're looking at all this talent in here, and you're looking at something that probably would showed up on a house show here and there. Yeah. That's kind of the way they work this. Doug used the DDT, so I got a question for you guys. Y'all know these timelines better than me, but you hear people still complaining to the day, right here in 2026. Everybody uses the DDT as a transitional move. Everyone was using the DDT in 1991. When does this compare to? Was Jake big in the WWE before this, and then everyone just started stealing that move?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
Jake was big. Like 86 is where DDT, putting the snake on him, becomes a big thing, and the DDT is just sold as just death, and people were respectful of it for a while.
They did really good showcasing it on Saturday night's main event, and that was what pulled the regulars in. In my opinion.
But everyone seems to use it. Jeff uses it. Embry uses it. Now we saw Doug use it. I don't know who. And then we see somebody else use it later on in the program.
But in my memory, though, and Gene, you'll probably remember better than me, but it seemed like maybe a year or two before this is when everybody started doing it. But right there at the late 80s up until it seemed like it was pretty protected. Maybe one guy would have it as a finisher and, this promotion or whatever, but it wasn't like everybody was just doing it like it is in 1991.
No, you could count on one hand, and from probably 86 to 89, who all you had actually seen use a DDT, at least on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know, in 89, the Freebirds both start using it. Garvin and Hayes both start using it. Right.
I remember
and it seems
that.
like it kind of spreads from there. And even then, they're using it as a finish. But now you got Doug using it in the middle of this match. It just starts being. But then again, like you said, on this same show, you got Eric Embry's laying people out with it, and I don't know, but by 91, 92, it could just pop up anywhere at that point, which is sad because, like I said, when it was protected, when Jake hit somebody with it, it was just absolutely over. I mean, that famous match, where they wanted to try out Hogan versus Jake when Jake's a heel. And Jake hits Hogan with the DDT, and the place loses their fucking mind. And Vince McMahon's like, those two will never touch ever again. Get Jake the fuck away from Hogan and start working on turning him babyface.
Yeah.
But so, as we mentioned, a fun little 6-man tag team match. And then things go haywire outside the ring. Let's take a look at this.
A confrontation in there. Texas slipped something to Pritchard, and in the meantime, the girls have tied it up on the floor. Dirty White Girl and Miss Texas scrambling and holding on and pulling hair and trying to get an handcuffs. They're handcuffing Dirty White Boy. Dirty White Boy's been handcuffed in the corner. He can't get loose. Tom Pritchard just nailed the referee. He's calling for help. Here comes Tojo Yamamoto. He's got a bag. He's got serve. Oh, no.
Oh, no, they're going to try to tar and feather Tony Anthony. They got him handcuffed.
Here comes the Dirty White Girl, though. And now Pritchard's got the Dirty White Girl, slams her down. Gonna kick her out of the ring. What's this? They've got that tar. They've got a bag of feathers. Pritchard's coming to the floor. Oh, no, they're going to do the Dirty White Girl.
They sure are. They've got their Pritchard is holding her, and Miss Texas has got that jar of syrup. Meanwhile, Samu has just nailed the referee on the floor on the other side of the ring. Tojo standing there with
the Dirty White Girl being smothered in the syrup. She was screaming. You can hear what's happening.
You can see Tony Anthony going wild up there as he is handcuffed and can't do a thing about it. That's a big bag of
And
feathers.
here comes the feathers.
Tar and feathering the Dirty White Girl. Well,
Oh, no,
Dirty White Girl won the match earlier in the week, and now this is their revenge here, I suppose. Can't beat them in the ring, so with the tar and the feathers, you handcuff Tony Anthony to the ring, and then tar and feather the Dirty White Girl. Danny Davis and Doug Gilbert over to
What an
help if they
embarrassment.
can.
Oh, yeah.
Until the feathers came out, that was
Brian, hey,
different
that
story
segment
there.
was brought to you by Spunk Lube. Thank you very much. All I can think about is we're on Saturday morning TV, and all I can see is panties. I said, giggity, giggity.
And
Oh,
Michael
hell
St. John
yeah.
goes, they're going to do the Dirty White Girl.
Yeah, and I said, oh, yeah, I'm doing the Dirty White Girl. Yeah, baby.
Yeah. So here we go. They like to say there's a pretty good shot right
Watch
there.
this. I want you to look at something. Tom lays her down during that body slam, just barely.
Yes.
And right here, he makes a point not to put his junk up against her ass. Look,
Yeah.
he's like, I'm like, damn. I mean, I guess it's respect, but I wouldn't have no respect. So
No, you would have been.
grinded.
Oh my!
Get the
Put
kid
it
off.
on.
Dave would have had to call for a commercial.
Her.
So what's funny to me is at first, when Dirty White Girl first runs out there and grabs Miss Texas, literally nothing has happened. They're just hugging each other, rolling around the side of the ring, and nobody's hitting anybody. Nobody's they're just literally just holding on to each other, waiting for their spot there. And it was such perfect timing. BT listened to the show, so he knows what I'm talking about. But this guy sent in a question for Dangerous Conversations this past week, and he said that he's a young guy, and that to him, like, old school wrestling was like 2012. That's what he considered old wrestling, and that his uncle, who's like my age, apparently, said he's like close to 50, which I'm not quite 50, but I'm getting there.
Yeah, I'm not
Introduced
50
him to old Mid-South wrestling, 80s Mid-South wrestling, and introduced him to 80s and 90s Memphis wrestling. And he said that brought him to this show, which brought him to Dangerous Conversations. And he sent in a question, and he's like, look, I'm a young guy. I don't know anything about old wrestling. He said, but can you please explain to me? I'm thinking he must have been like a week ahead on this show, but then again, they did it in Mid-South too.
Yeah.
So, but he's like, can you please explain to me the significance of them pouring syrup on people and putting feathers on them and calling it tar and feathering? And he's like, is it just the humiliation of the sticky syrup, or like, what is this? And so Tommy actually touched on, he didn't go into detail, but on the fact that, hey, this is a thing that used to happen a long time ago with actual tar and feathers, and it was more than just humiliation. And then kind of talked about how it got integrated into wrestling, and then they use it here. But by 91, yeah, that sucks for her. She's got syrup and feathers poured all over her, but I don't know. I think this thing's kind of lost its whole meaning, other than just now she's got to wash all that shit out of her hair is probably the worst part of this angle for her.
Now,
Yeah, as a kid watching, I had no clue about the significance of that. I just thought, oh man, that sucks. Like you said, she gonna have to shower afterwards. Like that's. I was thinking it was just humiliation, but yeah, yeah, that's a little dated at this point.
Well, I'm sitting here reading about it. I read about it after y'all started talking about it on Dangerous Conversations. It actually started in England, and it was just used uh, unofficially to get justice and revenge in England, and they would strip the people completely naked or to the waist and put the wood tar as we say in the South, and the feathers on them. So I mean, and then I guess we're talking as we get more and more. We use that here in America, North America, for the slaves also? For some reason, I feel like we did that.
Yeah, that's
Okay. Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
connotation here. I think this would have been more effective if they'd have followed the old school way and stripped her naked at least above the
Me
waist.
too. I think they should have. Yep,
I
yep,
think
yep.
it really would have ramped up the humiliation there.
Yeah,
and
me
made us
too.
more-
Yep.
Sold a
Strip
lot
her
more
naked.
tickets.
Strip her naked. Strip her naked.
I mean, I remember seeing a clip from Memphis, and it was kind of weird because, like, I don't even remember either one of these guys being here, and it was kind of like a one-off thing. But like, Butch Reed did that to JYD in the Memphis studio one time.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course, the Nightmares did it to Johnny Rich and Continental. It got done quite, and usually that's what usually happened. It usually was the heel doing it to the baby face. I can't even think of an instance where I seen a heel get it done to him, even though you think
No,
it
me
would
neither. No.
lend itself to that. But so there you go, tarred and feathered. Right there.
I don't know
and
if I mentioned this, but if you watch that clip, you can see her panties. I just want y'all to know that. So
yeah, and if you doubt what he's saying right now, there you go. If you're watching the video, you can see a shot, and you can see, as he pointed out, Dr. Tom is steering clear of.
He's being a gentleman.
He's being a gentleman.
Is it at this point? Is he still her brother-in-law though? Maybe that's why.
Could be.
We're gonna go to Christmas and shit. I don't want it to be on.
That's why they trusted him to do the angle here, and so.
Well, he set her down in that body slam. Jesus, it was he just. Oh, I'm setting you right here. So
yeah,
I'm not gonna hurt
there
you.
you go. Are you okay? Is it comfortable? Can I get you anything? Need a pillow? Oh, never mind. Here comes Miss Texas bringing a pillow, but not for what you think. So the floor is just littered with syrup and feathers and made a huge freaking mess. I'm sure the crew over there watching on was like, damn it, what are they doing?
What is this horse shit?
They're going to want us to scramble and clean this shit up during the commercial break now. So while that's going on, Dave explains how you can get free tickets to be there in the studio, and they talk about the card for Monday night, which we'll come back to later, as always.
Did y'all ever go to the studio? That's a good question when I saw this.
No, I went to several shows at the Coliseum and a couple at the Big One Expo Center. Never made it to the studio. I
think it was the 86 or 87 that summer. Me and my friend Lynn, his brother lived in Memphis, and we would send a self-addressed stamped envelope for every week. We would just send it. Now, sometimes we didn't get to go, but I think we went that summer either 4 or 5 or 6 times right there in the studio. And, I went to the studio during the trips where the Philly people came down. And then I had a couple friends, one from Chicago and one from New York, come in, and we went to the studio twice there. I had pictures of Fuller and downtown Bruno. I can't even remember what year. I'm horrible with that. But yeah, I've been to the studio probably a dozen times, and it was just the main thing I took away, and I think I have said something about it on this show, is that when they're showing clips, it's on like a 15-inch television or something.
Yeah.
It's you expect in your mind before you go that it's going to be on a big, huge screen or something. But it's like everybody in the studio is real quiet trying to look at the clips. So, but it's always been it was always fun and just a small studio with so much action going on. I always loved going.
After you went and was actually there the first time, did it change kind of the way you perceived it when you watched it on television?
Oh, yeah. You got a different perspective. The first time I went, this is so funny, but the church took us.
Wow.
So the church took us about 3 times during my when I was in high school, from 9th grade to 12th. I went about 3 times with the church. It was a youth group, and they would always come to me because I was the wrestling guy. How do you get tickets? Every time I would, how many do you need? Blah blah blah. And he would take down like 7 or 8 people to the wrestling. And it was so funny, which I didn't get to hear it during church because, I went and watched the Jerry Lawler show. But it was in the church program the week before we went. It was like, if you want to go to wrestling, then contact Randy McDaniel. And I don't think about shit like that until we start talking. I'm thinking, would they be taking people to church groups to wrestling these days? I mean, it was no big deal. It was, and they took us the guys, the youth group took us to St. Louis to see the Cardinals like 2 or 3 times also. So that's the only reason I was with that youth group, is to go places. I mean, it wasn't like churching or anything.
Can you imagine if you was at you had your youth group there and they're like, "Don't look at the ladies' panties. Everybody, cover your eyes."
Oh,
and then Leatherface comes out there later, like, "What are we bringing these kids to?"
In my mind, I'm thinking, imagine that youth pastor took his group to the first their first ever Monday Night Raw, and Vince McMahon unveils the Kiss My Ass Club, and then
oh yeah, that's I
We
always
had
like to
some,
ask. Go ahead.
We had a lot of the deacons and stuff in our church, in the Baptist church. It wasn't the Pentecostals, so if we went down there with the Pentecostal preacher, he probably would have started talking tongue during one of those. Talking tongue. But it was the Baptist church deacons. All were rich. They all had money. And I mean,
like they were skimming off the top or something.
No. They were farmers,
allegedly,
owned businesses, stuff like that. So anything the youth groups wanted to do, man, they would get the hotels. Anyone could go, and it wouldn't cost you a thing to go eat and go to the event. So I was poor as shit. I would have never been able to go do any of that stuff if it wasn't for the church. So it wasn't for me going to Sunday school every Sunday. So
anytime I get to interview somebody that worked in that studio, that's always one of the first things I always ask them is like, what it was like for them walking in there compared to what they pictured in their mind. Like I talked to Madman Pondo the other night, and he was like, it was so small.
Yeah, that's
like,
the main
I did not
thing,
expect it to be that small. So I wish I'd have got an opportunity to go at least once, but didn't happen. But
fun. It's really fun.
Now we got the tag team champs are out here. Jeff Jarrett, the Tennessee Stud. And Jeff starts in. So he's got this thing he does when he's not busy telling you how they used to be enemies and they're going to split the team if they lose. He likes to take and tell these big stories where he weaves Robert Fuller into it. He's going to tell us about 5 Tennessee legends, and he talks about Andrew Jackson. He talks about Davy Crockett. He talks about Alvin C. York, Elvis Aaron Presley, and then the 5th Tennessee legend, well, that's, of course, is the Tennessee Stud, Robert Fuller. And it seems to always genuinely pop Robert Fuller each time it does. Oh, Jeff, come on now. Either he's just a really good actor or he doesn't know Jeff's going to weave him into these things. But, yeah, Fuller's the 5th Tennessee legend, and then Fuller warns Judge Dredd and Samu that they're going to split them apart in that cage, which if Robert Fuller tells me he's going to split me apart, I'm not showing up.
In a cage. I'm not going in a cage. They split up. You've already made that mention, but I wrote down here, didn't they split them up last week? What the fuck?
They keep losing matches where the losers have to split, and nobody has split up. I don't get it. That we've stopped even mentioning that they're the Western States Tag Team Champions because there's no belts and there's nothing to prove that. But so they're gonna have yet another loser must split match. This time it's in a cage. Maybe it'll stick this time. I don't know. But right now, they're going to go up to the ring, and they're going to take on the Scorpion and Chris Candido. He suddenly has his actual
Name,
God-given name here. And this is another one of those instances where we're teaming a jobber with somebody who's not a jobber. So, Candido looks pretty good. Then the Scorpion comes in and basically gets his ass handed to him. What'd you guys think of this?
Man, the biggest fight Candido had was those fucking tights he had on, dude. The whole match
Hog report.
No, the whole match he is pulling them out of his butt cheeks because
he was excited too. So
he got the high cut. Like the measurements weren't correct for their leg hole.
No, they weren't.
So
no.
yeah, they were trying to like thong up on him the whole time, and I think that's why he got it over with at first and tagged the Scorpion in to get beat up for the rest. He was like struggling out there pulling them in. He would just tie up with somebody and have to pull him out of his ass. But for what it was worth, it was a good match. I mean, even the Scorpion gracefully took an ass whooping. But I just, he
said, talk about it.
Somebody told me who the Scorpion was, and now Hutchinson. I can't think of his name, but he's somebody who used to job without a mask, and now he's the Scorpion. But
the thing I liked about this match was that Michael St. John called this a brouhaha when they did the double DDT for the win. That was a brouhaha going on. So I'm not sure what the fuck that is, but he got excited about that too. Maybe we was getting excited about Candido's.
I was waiting for him to offer to assist with that at some point. Dave, let me go over and see if I can get those out for him. I'll be right back. I don't know if I mentioned it. He's a good-looking guy. But here we go. Double DDT on the Scorpion here.
Yep.
Yeah. DDT's aplenty on this week's show. Now, here's where it gets fun.
Oh, yeah.
Let's take a look at the clip here as Eric Embry and his crew comes out. And I don't know. It's always Leatherface in the studio to me has always been just wild to see. And this is our first look at Leatherface in the studio. And we come back from this, we're going to talk a little bit about some controversy about who Leatherface is and was and who he was at different times. So first, let's check this out.
I hear a noise. A flamboyant Eric Embry. What in the world is that?
Wait a minute. Here's Leatherface with that song.
Look out.
Whoa.
Hey, get that thing out of here. That goofy Leatherface. All right, everybody stay back. Look out, Michael.
Hey, Will. What is this all about, Dave? Here comes Tojo Yamamoto and Ta-Gar and Judge Dredd.
Judge Dredd coming out and Embry. Oh, man.
It's got to be Eric Embry behind all this.
It's got to be. Embry, I know you're behind us. Have him shut that thing off or get out of here. Shut it down and let's go. Come on. If you want to talk, but don't send a guy out here with a stupid chainsaw running.
Hey, I can't believe that Jerry Lawler wants some more of me, man. I can't believe it, Lawler. After the way I beat you half to death last week, and you see, man, I beat him from one end of that arena to the other. I beat your brains out, Lawler, and you want some more of me. Well, you know, Lawler's a little bit more stupider than what I thought he was. Did you hear about Lawler's phone bill? Well, I'll talk. I heard about it. I heard, Lawler, how you called all over the country saying, hey, will you come in and be my partner? And everybody's, yes, who you wrestling? And you said Eric Embry, and it went click. They hung up on you, didn't they, Lawler? Well, how you found who you found, I don't know, Lawler. I didn't know he had enough guts to get back in the ring with me. Well, that's fine and dandy, Jerry Lawler, because not only will I put an end to you, I'll put an end to him again, and I'm going to keep going through everybody. One at a time, two at a time, three at a time, it don't matter, Dave Brown, because I'm flamboyant Eric Embry. I'm the Southern Heavyweight Champion. I'm from the United States of Texas, and there ain't nothing you or anybody else can do about it, and that includes you, Dave Brown. So, Lawler, you get whoever you want, man, and you bring them to the arena, and I'll knock them down. And then you got to look me eye to eye, face to face, man to man. And then I'm going to put you back in the wheelchair, Lawler, where you belong.
Man. So I was watching this. I was kind of confused at first. Like, so we've well established that Eric Embry has brought in Leatherface and that he's part of the Texas crew or whatever. But they're sitting there at the desk, and Michael St. John's like, "I hear something. Do you hear that?" And then Dave Brown's like, "Well, wait a minute. What is it? What is going on here? What's this all about?" And they're just both just like, "What's happening? Why is he here? Eric Embry's got to be behind this." Like, well, no shit. That's his guy. Like, what do you mean you got to be behind this? But the whole studio just fills with smoke. Like, that had to stink like hell in there, that fumes. And just the surreal picture of a guy in a Leatherface outfit swinging a chainsaw. And he's got the character from the movie down, the spastic movements and all the crap like that. But you see in one frame, you see Embry, Leatherface, Ta-Gar, and Tojo in a cowboy hat and Texas flag. It's just like, holy shit! This is quite the scene here in the TV studio this morning.
Yeah, I think that's what kind of took the mystique and like the horror out of it was, fucking Ta-Gar standing over at attention and at the corner with that stupid mask on. Like, I don't know. I just, it kind of, like you said, I guess it was just seeing it all right there in front at one time.
I absolutely loved it. I did. I
did too,
popped for it. And Embry's robe. I'm a gear guy, so I love to see what kind of gear but that robe was just awesome. Good stuff, fun interview. I really liked it. Yeah, it was fun.
I like it. They all come out together and like Ta-Gar's just kind of half-heartedly carrying that shield now because now he's like, this dude's got a fucking chainsaw. My shield feels kind of lame now. Like, ooh, it shoots a little fireball out. Big deal. But so. All right, so we had talked about last week or the week before, whenever Leatherface first came in and had the match with Lawler, about what a great job Dennis Knight, Tex Salinger, did in that match, because I was under the impression of everything I'd ever seen or heard that was Dennis Knight. Well, I put that video up on Facebook, which is getting tons of views. And people were coming in the comments saying, "Who's Leatherface?" And some guys going, "Oh, it's Corporal Kirshner." I'm like, no, it's not Corporal Kirshner. He did it in Japan. He never was in Memphis. I was like, it's Dennis Knight. Well, Mike Needham comes and tags Dennis Knight in the comments. Well, Dennis shows up and says that initially that was not him. It was Brian Lee. And that he played Leatherface after Brian Lee, and me and BT talked about this just in chat. I mean, Brian Lee was not active in any other form in Memphis right here. You didn't see, he wasn't already there. He didn't come in shortly before this or shortly after this. It would be really weird.
I would hate to say Dennis, I wouldn't tell Dennis Knight, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, since he was there and we weren't there, kind of thing. But I thought about this since we talked about it. There's a possibility. Brian was, I consider Brian one of my friends in the business during that time. He lived in Nashville, traveled all around, and I think it was close to the time he went to WWE. Like I said, I'm horrible with dates. But in 91 also, he came, I had a restaurant that he came to, and we fed him a bunch of food, a bunch of Italian food one day. He was in the area. That's all I can say, but he was not on any of the results. That's what I looked at the results that I've been given to y'all, and there was never a Brian Lee. He wasn't working. There was always Tex, and every dirt sheet and everything says it was Tex. So I like I said, I wasn't there. I didn't pull the mask off of him and say, "Hey, Brian, is that you?" Kind of thing. But I don't know. I guess he would know more than we would, but it just seems weird since we don't see his name, or it's not like he's working the Memphis circuit.
This one in the studio today is a different one from the one we saw in the match with Lawler that took the good headshot and then stiffened up and acted, his legs were skinnier and all that. I do know that. But,
well, it might have been Lee for that one match. And yeah, it could have been.
Because Brian Lee doesn't go to WWF till 93 for the Undertaker thing.
Okay.
That's right. SummerSlam.
Yeah,
or no, not 93. 90.
You're right. He worked WCW squash
94.
matches and stuff in 91. And then he goes
94
to
was the SummerSlam with the Undertaker. Smoky Mountain hadn't kicked off yet in 91 because that's where he's going to end up is working in Smoky Mountain. So it's a good chance it was. Like I said, we're not going to say Dennis is wrong. He should know. And I mean, and this is definitely a different one. I think this might be him here in the studio, perhaps. And maybe that was Brian Lee or someone else. Whoever it was, I thought they did a hell of a job in the match. But even the one in the studio, they've got his movements down pretty good, Because I've seen other later versions where he just walks out with a chainsaw and kind of swings it around. He's just kind of there. But, he's got, all the movements of the one from the movie. But anyway, it's quite the visual to see all those guys out there together. And of all those guys, Eric's going to be the one to have a match against Tim Hall here, and it's going to be short and sweet. And we see him put him away with a DDT, and Embry wins, and then got a new wrinkle to all this. He drapes the Texas flag over the fallen body of Tim Hall. So that's fun.
Yep.
I enjoyed it.
I did too.
I'm sorry. But I like that even the fans were screaming because the whole match, Embry is just paranoid. Lawler's fixing to pop out. So he's the whole time he's acting like he smoked crack or something. And he does a pin for the finish after the first DDT. And somebody in the crowd, I don't know if they were told to do it but it was perfectly timed. On 2, they yell, "Here comes Lawler!" And he gets up and runs. He's stops the pin. He turns him around so he can look at the curtain, and then he pins him 1, 2, 3. But that little detail, man, that was so good. That timed perfectly.
I liked it. I liked the idea of him still being scared of when we're going to, tie up for Lawler. I mentioned it last week, but we're building for something which we'll get next Monday night, I think. This Tim Hall guy, was he anybody, Gene?
No.
Big guy. He was a big guy.
I mean, he was an outlaw guy, but nobody that we would really recognize. Yeah. I think it does a lot to put Lawler over here too, for Eric to have all these monsters on his side, but yet he acts like Lawler's the monster. He's ready to run from him just like somebody would run from Leatherface in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. So I don't know if that's by design or if that just kind of happened that way, but watching this, I felt that's kind of ironic that, you got this horror movie character out here, but yet Embry acts like he's the one in the horror movie, and it's, Night of the
I never
Lawler.
thought about that. That's a great point. Yeah.
So I don't know how many more matches this guy's going to have, and I the fact that he's wrestling Lawler and we hadn't seen a Lawler match in a while, it's only about 5 minutes. I thought, let's watch this Ta-Gar match in its entirety here. What do you guys think of that? So,
all right, sounds fun.
Pull it up here.
Match, and Lawler is now saying, "Hey, I want him to take that mask off."
So they mentioned the hard plastic mask of Ta-Gar here at the beginning. Lawler has wanted Ta-Gar's, that glove that shoots fire out of it to be checked, and check the mask and check everything. And
I did get a good look at that mask, Gene, and I think you're 100% right. You said the first week. That is a Dr. Doom. Got it from somewhere, probably a costume shop or something, but I think that's what it is.
Yeah, it's not your run-of-the-mill Halloween Dr.
No,
Doom mask,
no.
but
Yeah,
that is definitely what it is. And to me, this illustrates better than anything because, I don't know, we didn't have a good idea exactly what size the job guy was, but we know Lawler's size. And now when you look at Ta-Gar next to Lawler, he's not this big monster people were thinking he was. You know, hell, he's not even as tall or about the same height as Lawler here. And like I say, he does have decent-sized arms and everything, but he's not a big dude at all.
They tie it up now. The King moving in off after Ta-Gar backs him into the corner.
I love that. I love that.
Punches the mask and sells it. That's part. But see, this is why Lawler's so good because no matter how bad somebody is or how bad the character is or whatever, inexperienced, he can go out there and do stuff like this, sell what they have, and make a match out of it. Uh-oh. Lawler trying to take off the Dr. Doom mask here. He gets out. I mean, you know, if you take away that silly name, Ta-Gar, Lord of the Volcano, if this guy would have just showed up as, you know, Dr. Doom or whatever, it would have been less jarring. But that name sounded like such a horrible B movie. I mean, it sounded like something Joe Bob Briggs would be watching on Monster Vision or something, you know.
Yeah, and he looks the part as well.
And that silly video with the, you know, they got him red, some kind of effect on him through the whole thing, and then they change to a normal picture, and he shoots that little fireball out of his hand. Oh, shit. Lawler lighting him up with some kicks to the gut there.
Karate King.
Hell yeah. All Neighbors is a referee. Uh-oh. But see, I mean, Lawler's making a story out of this guy's fucking mask. He doesn't sell the punch. He doesn't sell the head in the corner. He could use that nose as a weapon. Look at that damn thing. Looks dangerous. All right, test of strength.
It's a shame he just didn't shoot fire at Lawler immediately.
I know. I mean, you think this bell rings, boom, you shoot the fire. All right, Enziguri. But it's logical. He can't punch him in the face, so he kicks him in the back of the head. There's no protection in the back of the mask. BT is in absolute awe of this match. He's not saying anything. He stepped away. I'm sorry. I'm sure he's not listening, if I had to guess. He saw his opportunity.
I did. I had to call my mama because y'all know I love my mama.
I understand your mama's a big Ta-Gar fan. Is that true?
She loves her some Ta-Gar.
He's looking pretty tough against Lawler here. Lawler tried to punch the mask. It didn't help. Tried to run him in the turnbuckle. That didn't do it.
Did I ever tell y'all
mask?
I almost become Don Fargo's stepson at one time. Don Fargo was hitting on my mom at wrestling.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. He could have showed you that dumbbell trick he had.
That's right. He could have. Well, my dad might have had something to say about all that, but, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was going to have a stepdad as a wrestler, man, that would have been the best thing ever. I might have kicked my dad to the curb for that one, boy. Woo.
He's sitting here with Brian Fargo right now. Oh, he got him.
Motherfucker's only won one match.
Look at this shit right here.
Oh, I love this. Oh, I love that ball.
One punch. Hurls him over the top rope.
Love it. Love it.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Good, yeah. I love that. I actually made a comment about that bump. I said, big bump by Embry. I love that, man.
Here we go.
Did you notice Lawler copped a feel on Ta-Gar right there at the end? Like he's getting up, but yeah, he just places his hand gently on Ta-Gar's ass and kind of uses it to get up. But like he just kind of sit there for a second. Then he does it. So I saw that and I was like, wow. Lawler bold as a motherfucker.
The real reason Ta-Gar left Memphis for the couldn't take the harassment anymore.
And he never won, so that might be something to do with it. So
I mean, poor Bill Dundee is wrestling that dude, and he's probably doing all the. He's working on all the spot shows and around the loop and everything. This is Ta-Gar. But I don't know if
you think you're gonna wear that fucking mask and go over on me, brother. I got a thing to show you, brother. He's probably putting him in all the circus holds and all the miserable shit.
Jamie's back home, so I can focus on wrestling Ta-Gar every week. So we get some footage of some old Jackie Fargo highlights of different times he came into town and made his return. Seeing hitting moondogs with chairs and assassins and all the usual suspects.
I loved that shit, by the way. Just absolutely loved it when it was happening.
Oh yeah, and we'll find out why we're seeing that here in a minute when we go over the card. But that brings Lawler out for a promo. I started to clip this one, but I didn't. But it was a pretty good when he calls Embry a coward.
Erica, I hate that. He calls him Erica, and then he says, Jarrett forgot a great man from Tennessee. He forgot to mention a great man from Tennessee. And Steve Kern walked out and started pledging his allegiance.
That's probably what happened. Steve Kern was watching this, and he called Lawler like, he didn't mention Jackie Fargo as a great man from Tennessee. You better go write that before I have to drive to Memphis. I don't want to have to leave the beach to come up to Memphis to tell y'all who the real legend is. But, of course, he's bringing Jackie Fargo in Monday night. It's going to be Lawler and Jackie against Eric Embry and Leatherface. And Lawler promises there may be some fireworks.
I don't get
Monday.
It. Look.
I really didn't realize how often he went to that well of teasing the fireball until we've been watching these shows. I mean, 93, it was every other week. There's going to be a barbecue down there Monday night. But that's Lawler. That's what he does. So, pretty good show here. We get an impressive win from Zakowski. We get a fun 6-man tag team match that turns into a tar and feather angle. Embry's paranoid, scared to death that Lawler's going to get him. And we see Ta-Gar in action. So right now, let's take a commercial break. And when we come back, we'll hear the whole card for Monday night and see what you guys thought about this show.
Hey guys, Ray Russell here. Lots of new stuff happening here at WrestleCopia. If you haven't checked out our website at WrestleCopia.com, it's a great way to keep up with the latest episodes of all of your favorite Copia programming, from the Wrestling Memory Grenade to Regional Wrestling with the Territory Talk, the Wrestling Stoop with the legendary Bob Roop, and of course all of those programs also available at your favorite podcast streaming platforms. And if you want to stay up to date with everything going on in the Copia world, all the latest news, random thoughts, fun videos, pictures, and more, make sure to join the more than 33,000 followers over at Facebook.com/Wrestling Grenade. Don't be left out. And last but definitely not least, it's what keeps the entire machine going. I'm talking about Patreon.com/WrestleCopia. We appreciate your support in helping us pay the bills to keep the WrestleCopia podcast network running and enabling us to continue to bring you all the quality programming that we offer.
Tired of the same boring wrestling podcast? Need something with attitude, chaos, and maybe just a little cussing? That's STSpod.club, and we got it all covered. We've got wrestling weirdness with WTF News Desk, 5-minute time limit, and the Southern Fried Brain of me, BT, steering the whole ship. We also have rolling into Memphis every week about the current Memphis wrestling. Interviews, hot takes, and wrestling outrageousness so wild it might get you banned in 12 states. That's right, it's SDSpod.club, or search all podcast catchers for Shooting the Shiznit, where wrestling podcasts grow chest hair. Not sure what that meant. Love my mama.
All right, we're back. Let's hear what the card's going to be down at the Pipkins building this week and see if you guys are going to end up buying a ticket or not.
Opening match of the night, Doug Gilbert. He was going in that six-man match just a moment ago. Will be going against Chris Candido. Mr. Charisma, he calls himself. He will be in there against Doug Gilbert. Then the world's light heavyweight title match. Danny Davis against Rob Zakowski. This should be some kind of interesting match right here.
Rob Zakowski has come a long way so far in the USWA. He gets his shot at the World Light Heavyweight Championship. Danny's going to have his hands full because Zakowski has been very, very impressive, and I would say he's on a roll right now.
Hey, we've seen how he could move in that opening match here today. He goes against Danny for the title. A grudge match follows that. The superstar, Bill Dundee, will be going against Ta-Gar. Ta-Gar we talked about earlier. He's the one that has fire shooting from his fingertips and the shield and all of that. He's dangerous in the ring. Grudge match coming up against Dundee.
And superstar Billy is focused. He is back. He's got his head back on wrestling. It's going to be a good match Monday night with Ta-Gar.
Mixed tag match. What does that mean? Well, it means men and women in the ring. Dirty White Boy and Dirty White Girl against Tom Pritchard and Miss Texas. Tom Pritchard and Miss Texas spent, what, 3-4 minutes out here denying that Miss Texas had been defeated by Dirty White Girl, but she had been. But then you saw what just happened with the feathers and all of that. So Tony Anthony, the Dirty White Boy, he was livid when he was up there handcuffed to the ring apron, and when he finally got loose. Of course, by then, Pritchard and Miss Texas were long gone. But they won't have that opportunity come Monday night. They will be there, and Tony will be looking for them.
I tell you, the complexion of this match has changed entirely as for what happened here today with this tar and feather thing. I got a feeling that come Monday night, you're not going to be able to control Dirty White Boy when he gets into the ring.
I think you're right. Cage match coming up after that. They put a cage around the ring. The loser will split the team. In other words, the losing team must split up. There must be a winner of the match. Jeff Jarrett and Robert Fuller will be in there going against Judge Dredd and Samu. In the cage, must be a winner. The losing team splits up. But that's not all. The main event of the night, get ready for this, a grudge match of the century. Look at the partner. It's going to be the king, Jerry Lawler, and the original fabulous one himself, Jackie Fargo, against Eric Embry and Leatherface. Tojo will be in their corner.
Grudge match of the century, guys. So there you have the card. So let's talk about it. What was your least favorite part of this week's episode?
I've got to say the Jeff Jarrett and Robert Fuller promo and the match. I don't know. I don't remember feeling this way back then, but I am starting to feel this way right now. I am just about done with the whole thing. Like, too many times are we reminded that, if one loss is all that separates us from just busting this whole thing up. So, like, you can't have much faith that way. Like, you're not, and like the little things. It's how many matches are we going to have where one team is supposed to be split up, and fuck, this is like the third week in a row they're versing the same people. How is that happening? And they're not addressing it. They're just letting it go. And the match itself was nothing to write home about either. I'm about sick of it. But Jarrett specifically, the great Tennesseans, Andrew Jackson, and then you bookend him with Robert Fuller. What the fuck? Like, goddamn. I'm sick of it.
That's really weird because Andrew Jackson had slaves and Colonel Parker did too. So, wow. Did you ever think that? Wow.
Maybe he does deserve to be in that list.
There we go. I got to agree with Josh. Now, I know what's happening backstage. Or his daddy's grabbing him to the side and saying, look, our Fuller, somebody's telling Jeff we got to work on those promos. Come up with a story. Let's help you with the promos. But I'm with y'all guys. This might be some of my least favorite stuff Jarrett has done. Even though I remember Jarrett and Fuller I'm a huge fan of those two guys together. This gets so repetitious in the idea that we're going to break up, but they never break. What's going on here? So yeah, gotta agree with Josh on that.
I'll sign off on that as well. The thing that really frustrated me about this was the fact that we've kind of rewritten history as we went along, because this started out as a self-imposed thing that Jarrett and Fuller said, oh, we've decided that if we ever lose a match, we're just going to split the whole team and call it quits. And then 2 weeks into that, they say, well, now we're being forced into this match where if we lose, we're going to have to split the team. Who is somebody's conspiring
Conspiracy
against
going
us.
on,
Somebody,
yeah.
I think it's Eric Embry trying to split us up, and Eric even comes out and takes credit for it later in that show. But it's like, no, you guys were the one that introduced this whole idea of if we ever lose, we're going to split type thing. So why are you acting like you've been, it's being foisted upon you? But anyway, yeah, that's my least favorite part as well. So
Can I just, I know this ain't the place, but I'll forget if I don't say that. I honestly think because this would move them into the number 3 slot in terms of what people are interested in, you would think, going on at this time. Because, I mean, Dirty White Boy and Dirty White Girls thing with Pritchard and Miss Texas, that has to be number 2 right now. In terms
Well,
of
it's still the feature match on all the shows, though. Pritchard
So
and him are like before,
it's-
and then we got Jarrett Fuller and Lawler. So,
yeah, it seems like they're just trying to throw that and just something bloom out of it, something, because they're probably not understanding why people are losing interest. But a lot of other good stuff's going on right now.
And I mean, even though, all right, you labeled them Western States champs, I mean, Judge Dredd and Sabu just look like a mishmash thrown together team when they got here. That should have been 1 week, maybe 2, but we're dragging this out for a 3rd or 4th week now. They don't warrant that. So we know this is just busy work for Fuller and Jarrett until we can bring them in another team to.
if they didn't throw that stipulation in, you could always do the thing where the heels go over the first time. I mean, they come out, they beat Fuller and Jarrett for the tag team belts on the first week at the Pipkins building. And then you got a feud that means something. None of this means shit. They're just wrestling each other, just like Dundee against Ta-Gar. So I've got some results from Evansville and Memphis and Evansville the next week, and all we got is Dundee against Ta-Gar. So it's crazy.
From a storyline perspective, they've tied their hands with Jarrett and Fuller here because they're the champs. And like you said, the formula is usually get a heel team in there, let them win the belts, and then that guarantees you justify at least one more round of matches. But here, if they lose the belts, they can no longer be a team, and now it's just done. And they made it open-ended. If it had just been for these couple of matches, that's fine. But Jarrett and Fuller made that open-ended from here on out. So I don't know how we overcome that. Of course, we're in Memphis where none of that means shit. We'll just act like we didn't say it if it suits our purpose. So, we'll see how they end up dealing with that when the time comes. But for right now, what was you guys' most favorite part of this week's show?
Even though I made the comment earlier about kind of took the horror out of the Leatherface mystique, seeing all of that kind of jumbled up on one screen. However, I do like the fact that Eric Embry is that much of a chicken shit, scared motherfucker that he has to get all those people out there just to make him feel comfortable. And the psychology in his match, man, it was off the charts. How can you take it up a notch from running like a bitch through the studio 3 different times last week? How do you top that and keep it going in the direction of a cowardly heel? He fucking did it by being the paranoid, it was so good, man. And like I said, about the little thing at the end with the finish, he had to turn him around because he got scared. Somebody scared him in the crowd about Lawler coming out. It was such good shit.
Yeah, I got to go with the whole presentation there with Leatherface and Ta-Gar. That the promo part was my favorite, and just I keep putting Embry's robe over it, but I was huge in that whole promo, and the idea that there's smoke all over the place, and I did like the tar and feather angle also. I want but all I could think of is what Gene said, that those people were saying, "What a fucking mess that they just did." But I did that Leatherface coming out with Embry and all that stuff was just my favorite. I love the Embry bump. Oh, I just love that bump with Lawler against Ta-Gar.
Yeah, like the fact that Embry has a guy with a chainsaw and a guy that can shoot fire out of both his hands and his shield is scared to death of Lawler just really puts Lawler over as such a threat. And, we can respect that looking back from, in 2026, we can put over what a great heel logic that is. And there's a few smart fans back then. But, I mean, when you look at it, you go back and look at it and put yourself in that time period. As a fan, you would have no way to justify cheering Eric Embry and being against Lawler if you were in any way inclined. He's from Texas. He's a coward. He talks mad shit about people until they show up, and then he doesn't have beef with them. Just flat out runs, even when he's got the advantage. Like, he has made that Eric Embry character so disreputable and unlikable. It's like just the ultimate heel. But when he needs to, he can pile drive somebody off the second rope and damn near break their neck. He can be dangerous when it comes time, but he can be the coward when it comes time. And a lot of people can't pull that off.
Yeah, when Josh said something early on in this season where you said something about Embry being one of your all-time heels, favorite heels. And I was like, Embry, favorite heels? And as we continue through this year, I'm thinking to myself, he was so good at it. I didn't like him, but maybe I didn't like him at the time because he was such a chicken shit heel and he played the part good. Never looked at him as a good worker, but man, he is really good. I mean, he's solid in the ring. He's solid on promos. And you want to see someone punch him in the face, which is the best thing you can say about having a heel across the ring from you. And Lawler knows that. So,
yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, and especially kind of in our age group, you think back on Eric Embry, and for me anyway, the first thing that comes to mind for me is him and Percy tearing down the banner after beating P.Y. Chuhai, and you think of him as playing Mr. Babyface in Texas for that one stretch. But honestly, the better parts of his career here in the USWA go back to Southwest, where he was such a great heel there. I didn't get to see a lot of that, but I've read about a lot of it. I have seen some footage of it, enough to get the gist of it and get that he was, amazing back then as well. And I'm looking to get a hold of some footage. I want to see some of the stuff he did in Puerto Rico too, to see how that translates when you can't lean so heavily on promos, how it kind of works out for him, with most of the heat having to be in the ring. But having said all that, and considering that Jackie Fargo's coming to town, the team with Lawler against Embry and Leatherface, you guys buying a ticket this week?
I am, just because I'd like to see the result of a few matches live in person. But man, yeah, Jackie Fargo and Leatherface in the same ring.
Yes.
I gotta go.
What bizarre world are we living in here? I'm with you. I'm going. Michael St. John said something during, I think it was after the Monday Night Card or something. He said, in that match with Miss Texas and Dirty White Girl, fur is going to fly. Fur is going to fly. What the fuck?
That sounds like we need to bring back your sponsor there, BT.
I know.
Fur
Here
Burster.
we go.
The old Fur Burster will handle that and keep it from flying around too much.
I can't say it. I can't use that as a joke. So,
all right. Well, it's time now. We're going to pitch it to BT to go through all the relevant results of the week.
All right, before we go to Monday night, I want to look at Wednesday night in Evansville, the Wednesday before this Saturday. We had 300 people as Dong Von Dam pinned Rob Van Dam. I know it's going to surprise everybody, but Dundee pinned Ta-Gar. And let me say something. There is a name attached to Ta-Gar in Evansville. Did you see that?
I did.
Candido was Ta-Gar that night. So there's no way he was Ta-Gar during the whole time, is it?
No.
I didn't think his arms were too small.
Yeah, people would have been all over that as far as the long-standing search for Ta-Gar. I did see that.
Candido's not as pale as Ta-Gar is in the studio.
Right. But he did work him there. Pritchard double DQ with White Boy when the girls interfered. Remember, they're a week behind everything. Yeah. Jarrett and Fuller beat Samu and Dredd. Really? And Lawler beat Leatherface just like we saw, and he got the 3 minutes with Embry. And then that brings us up to Monday night. Doug Gilbert over Chris Candido. Rob Van Dam against beat Danny Davis. I don't know if he won the belt, but I'm assuming he did. I don't know. Bill Dundee beat Ta-Gar.
Yeah.
Dirty White Boy and Dirty White Girl beat Tom Pritchard and Miss Texas. Jeff Jarrett and Robert Fuller beat Judge Dredd and Samu in a cage match when Jarrett came off the top of the cage with a chair on Dredd, and the losing team had to split up. Well, as Monday night, we don't know next week. Jerry Lawler and Jackie Fargo beat Leatherface, who was Tex that night, and Eric Embry when Lawler pinned Leatherface after throwing fire. Then, just for the heck of it, the top story going on in this was from July the 1st, which was that Monday night. Ric Flair had been fired by WCW, which led to Flair going to WWE. That was a big deal going on during that time. And in the Cassette Wrestling News issues or episodes we have up, there's a big story about that, and everything's going on around it. The next Wednesday, which would have been the 3rd of July in Evansville, we had 375 people. We had someone giving stars. It might have been Jeff Osborne. But Gilbert, that would be Doug Gilbert beat Sabu, 1 star. Rob Van Dam pinned Tex, 2.5 stars. Dredd, no contest with Fuller, dud. White Boy and White Girl beat Pritchard and Texas, 3.5 stars. And Lawler double count out with Embry, 2.5 stars. And I want to mention this because there were some clips from the Pipkin building. It said it ended with several heels doing run-ins, but Lawler made his own save. Did y'all notice that on that video? It is really weird to watch a bunch of heels jumping a babyface and no one saves him but himself.
Yeah.
Dude, and he was throwing a karate kick for every person. I love that. I hate we didn't watch that because it went how long? It was like 2-3 minutes, right?
I know.
He was tied up with one, and one would come in and he just bam karate kick at the last second. It was.
I didn't have
great.
an attendance on this Fargo and Lawler tagging, so I'm interested. I wonder if it popped the crowd too, because I didn't see any attendance whatsoever.
It feels like Lawler went away and the crowds dwindled down to nothing, and it feels like we are desperately trying to reestablish Lawler as Superman here by the way that, like we talked about, the way the Embry thing's building him up. And the fact he's making his own comeback against the entire heel roster here.
Right.
We're trying to reestablish him. But I noticed something going through his results. I want to circle back to Monday night real quick and see if you guys noticed this. And also want to say, I don't think we've seen this the entire time we went through 93 and certainly haven't in 91. Danny Davis and Rob Zukowski's a babyface match. So either way, this was a babyface sweep. Monday night, every babyface won their match Monday night.
Oh wow! We've seen that. I didn't notice that. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So,
well, that's crazy. No DQs either.
Yeah. So I think someone has taken notice that we need to reset some things here and get the train back on the tracks before we dwindle down to out of business because. Like Dave said, that was probably about a couple of back-to-back worst houses that Memphis had seen probably ever, honestly, since Jerry Jarrett took it over. So I can see where that would be means to panic there. And bringing in Jackie Fargo, we know, is always one of their aces in the hole that they like to pull out when they're trying to guarantee a house. So, fun.
Sorry about that, guys.
It's all right. I didn't know if you live next to a bell tower or something. So there you have it for this week. It'll be interesting to see if next week Judge Dredd and Samu are still just partners like nothing happened, or if we actually make good on that. That remains to be seen. So we'll check that out next week. But right now, it's time for the plugs. And first, We go.
Yeah, don't mix
to-
me up. I get confused. We try.
Now
to
I'm
mix me up.
confused. Do we normally do yours first, right?
Yeah, we do mine first.
There we go.
Every day we do the Shiznit Minute to talk about the current wrestling scene. We did episodes 1019. It was rolling into Memphis number 256, which was the Rumble Rebound show. Great promo at the end of the show, or almost at the end of the show, by Tim Bosby, who I called Tom Bosby. So I don't know if I got him crossed up with Happy Days, but wasn't that Bosby? Not
Yes,
Bosby.
Bosley.
Bosley.
Tom Bosley.
So I
Close
was
enough.
fucking confused. Wrestle Kingdom Observer this past week on the main feed, and this coming week that was with Mr. Z, my partner that does other shows with me, and he will be doing the top 10 stories of 2025 also. Gene and I sat down and watched Kyle Fletcher against Ospreay Saturday. Y'all check that out. Quite an interesting sit down, because these are two modern day guys that work the modern day styles the best way. We had good things to say about them and some bad things too. Also, this coming Saturday, we'll be reviewing the 125-87 Saturday morning TV show as we continue with the CWA Retro show. That's about it for me, man. I'm excited about getting further down in CWA, because we got one of the, as I've said on that show, we got one of the biggest angles ever in Memphis wrestling with the Rich and Idol against Lawler after they post him nut first. So
Why they running his nuts in the post like that? Why they do that?
you know you didn't beat him. Yeah, I can't watch that. I know what we're talking about. I just can't watch it. I'm trying to be nice.
If you know, you know. We're not going to play it.
We're not going to do it. All right, so we're fixing to do the P3 Radio Shiznit Minute. I gave you 3 out of 5 hoots, and I will explain why. About P3 Radio, the podcast that always talks about videos but never gives you the links or the descriptions. So let's get started with the Shiznit Minute. It was titled, I Have Been Poisoned, episode 441. Josh has decided he does not like to hang out with Richard, and he's always on location like he is this morning. Richard derailed the podcast at the very front when you were talking about Tulsa. He had no idea what you were talking about. I dropped a whole hoot because of that. I know this is going to surprise everybody, but Richard's sick. It is the first time in January. He went to the doctor. I think it's the first time. It might be the 12th time. Richard gives us a very detailed Walmart visit, talk about Walmart visit, about him almost shitting his pants, and that he goes home to shit and puke. He kept telling us about shitting in a shoe. He doesn't believe in ghosts, never will admit that Josh was poisoned by a bartender. Richard usually just believes nothing Josh says. He said he hadn't had a liquid shit and a throw up since. All right, that was it. Thanks. Good episode, by the way. Except you need to get you a new co-host. No, I'm just kidding. So there you go.
Wow.
The funny thing is the IT problems that crack me up. Josh says, I can't hear nothing. I can't. Why it makes me laugh so much is that Richard is an IT guy. And that's the way I feel too sometimes.
It's not only that. This motherfucker swears to God he does not adjust anything.
Yeah.
He just powers it down, and then that's it. But for some reason, every fucking week when you power it back up, everything's changed. How?
I can attest to that, because I mean, every week when we would record, we would have to spend 10 minutes or more trying to get all that. I mean, when Josh was at his house, it's just like it is now. He gets on, everything's good. And those guys had some kind of fancy hooked up through a board, blah, 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 blah. And holy shit, every week, like 10 minutes of hot mics would be just see lips moving and then waving and then
Josh told him he didn't want to hear an AI song, and he kept playing it. I was like, you could hear Josh just go.
He said, I said, I didn't hear not one word of that, and that's okay. Yeah. And he's like, well, here, I got it working now. Let me play it.
Josh like, also, he does not believe. Let me just say this. I hate to keep talking about P3 Radio because I know I got him in it. I'm sorry, Smokey. I'm sorry. but he thinks flushable wipes do not exist. There's a whole industry about flushable wipes, dude wipes. There's a whole huge industry that make money with flushable wipes, and he said they don't exist. So
there's nothing truly flushable.
Yeah, nothing's truly. I mean, I use them every day.
Quite the
so
opposite.
what
I
the
mean,
hell?
actually, there's a ton of things that are literally flushable. They may not stay gone. They may cause you a visit from a plumber, but they'll go down if you flush it enough.
He didn't believe it at all. He thinks it's a myth or a urban legend. I don't know. He was laughing.
Here's a fun game for everybody. Listen to an episode of P3 Radio with the idea that P3 Radio may only exist as a social experiment that Richard's conducting to see how much Josh will take before he literally just fucking snaps.
He has snapped a couple times. You can tell by the tone of his voice. It's like, I told y'all that story that my friends will tell you. At one time in their life, they wanted to punch me in my fucking face. And that's what I think about Rich and Josh. I know they've been friends forever, but Josh, you don't be lying to me, because I know there's been many times you wanted to punch him in his face. So there you go.
I have punched him in his face.
No, there you go.
But it was more on the jaw, and it wasn't that hard. But still, that was when we were kids.
I'm surprised it's not the measurement of how you end the show. Like, once you punch Richard's like, cue the music. That's this show.
It's over. Yeah,
it's over for this week.
It's a good time.
Yes, absolutely. Make sure you check out USWApodcast.com, where you can find all the links related to this show. You can find the links to the store, where you can get cool t-shirts like the I Don't Play t-shirt from a certain someone who's the light heavyweight champion, but we won't say who in case he comes looking for some royalties off that. But there's all kinds of good stuff on there. Check it out, USWApodcast.com. Check out the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Retro Wrestling Archive. We've now crossed the threshold. We've got over 12,000 subscribers. We're rocking on towards just like 5,000 videos on there. All kinds of old school wrestling, whole shows, matches, podcasts. You got all of my podcast. You got the STS Pod retro shows that we're putting up there week in and week out. Plus, you can also find WTF News Desk there. You can find our old Was It Really That Good shows are there as well. So anything, if you're a wrestling fan, I promise there's something there for you. Just go and check it out. Also, check out substack.com/Retro Wrestling Archive. All the audio versions of the podcast are released there. Excuse me. And also, you can find my articles. I put one up this past week about Man Mountain Link, who passed away. I was already working on that whenever he had made a bit of a recovery, and I thought, hey, I'm going to have this nice article about him now that he's doing better. And then before I could get it released on Thursday, he passed away on Wednesday. But check it out.
Don't
nice
do
guy.
one on me.
And,
please don't do
yeah,
one on me.
This week I'll be doing one on our friend BT. No. So check out the Substack. Please subscribe. And speaking of subscribing, go ahead and check out the old Patreon, patreon.com/Retro Wrestling Archive. That's my Patreon. You can also join patreon.com/Shooting the Shiznit. That's BT's Patreon. There's shared content across both, but plenty of unique content on each one that you can only get from that specific one. They're not expensive. They're worth your while. There's a lot of good content there. So please check it out.
Less than $10 for both of them. You can't beat that.
Can't beat that with a stick. And we're getting more and more unique content that you can only find on Patreon. We've come up with a couple of more bright ideas this week that I think is going to be a lot of fun for people.
Yes,
so make sure you join us. And if you don't hear enough of me talking on all these podcasts, you can hear me doing play-by-play commentary each and every week on EPW Wrestling. You can find it at epwwrestlingms.com. Guys, is there anything else we may have failed to mention before we get out of here and go to Patreon?
That's it for me. I love my mama.
Yes, he does. And we'll see you back here next week for another episode of the Retro Wrestling Review USWA podcast. Bye.